at Man United?
I think it's more a feel-good factor. When we've talked about Man United previously, it's always been a little bit negative. The manager didn't want to change his system. I didn't think it was the right thing to let Amara go in this particular moment.
Right.
But now you want an ex-player who knows the players.
But what difference is that?
Because when you speak about Man United, it's all negative. You can bring in a player that can lift the crowd, for one, and it can lift the players. So I think it's a smart appointment. Do I think he's going to be amazing? We've got to see that. At Middlesbrough, it didn't work out. But in terms of a short-term plan, I think when you look at the overall picture of Man United, if you want a world-class manager, they might want a world-class manager right now who's not available. For a 6-month period, this might be the best option.
A world-class manager won't come here. A world-class manager won't come and work for him. Why? Because we see what's going on upstairs. The decisions being made upstairs. We have Carrick coming in already. Now we're sitting here going, they probably pushed Holland towards him. You tell me Carrick hasn't got the intelligence to say, I know enough people in the game to know who to bring in. We talk about, he knows the club. He brings Johnny Evans. Johnny's got no coaching experience. No, I like Johnny Evans.
He's a former player, though, isn't he, Roy?
Former player. I would just give former players a job then. You've got to. We sit every week in Sky. You got to get the best of the best. We don't sit here and go, you've got to get former players every week. If we're done about coaching experience, Holland, we'll sit here and he's done all the hours and he's got a good CV. Go, okay, I get that a little bit. Okay, but if that's the manager's choice, if that's been put on him, and then you bring in Woodgate, who he knows a little bit, he's got experience, and Johnny Evans, and we say, what coaching, and you got to get the...
You know
Johnny
what,
Evans got no...
I have a question.
If you're sitting there going, what's Johnny done? I like Johnny Evans rock solid. I signed him twice. It's not an issue with Johnny Evans, it's more an issue with the club and the decision-making, who they're bringing in. Johnny Evans left Man United about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, right? He obviously left as a summer player, and they gave him a job... Loans manager, okay. Yeah. Leaves that a month or two ago. Had enough of that. He wasn't there for 10 years doing it. A few months. United are letting hundreds of people go, staff every week. But Johnny walks away from that job. Gets a call a week later, Darren Fletcher. Now, my issue with Johnny, he's got no coaching. It's not as if he worked at the academy for a few years. On one hand, we're saying you need people on the training pitch.
What's his designated role? We don't know. Is he a defender's coach? Is he trying to show? We don't know the specific.
Okay, but if I finish the point, so he comes in with Darren Fletcher. This is a bit like what I worry about pals acting, wink, wink, and who's making decisions upstairs. So Fletcher brings him in, and Fletcher again has very little experience, but he's worked at the academy level. Brings Johnny, so Johnny gets a phone call from Man United, having left as a loans manager. Going, do you want to come back? I bet you Johnny's thinking, what, is the kit manager, or am I working with the under-12s? No, you're coming back to work with the first team, with Darren. You go, OK, obviously a great opportunity for him. You have 2 games, don't go too well. Listen, that's probably the end of that. No. Then another manager coming in, he wants you to stay on as well.
Perhaps not everybody wants to do it. What would you have done if they'd called you and said, would you come and help?
Would I come and help Man United? Yeah. No, I'd probably be no. I wouldn't want to work with people above me who are dictating who your staff are, telling you what players you're bringing in. And there's been chaos going on in the background. I'm not saying the previous manager hasn't helped himself, but I guarantee you he'd come out one day and say, listen, there were decisions made that he wasn't happy with. And most managers go down that journey. I get it. And he was stubborn. I get all that, and his results weren't great. And there's no reason why these 4 new staff members, as much as I'm concerned about them, can get some momentum going. They can do.
Yeah, but you make always a point when we've been doing this for the last couple of years together, and you always talk about the dressing room, don't you?
Right.
And someone like Johnny Evans going in there, who's just come out of the dressing room, could help in certain aspects. I take your point in terms of his inexperience in terms of the coaching, but being in the dressing room, knowing how a modern day...
He was in the dressing room last year when they finished 15th.
Yeah, but he knows the group. He knows the group.
Oh, he knows the group, all right. They finished 15th. What was he doing last year when they finished 15th? What's Harry Maguire? What's all these experienced players doing? So if you're a player and you're on about why, and you're sitting in the dressing room and go, I'm going to bring Johnny back as an ex-player. Where's the logic in that?
It goes back to Sturridge's point. What's his role? What's his role?
That's the point.
Well, it won't be coaching, will it? Because I don't mind an ex-player coming back and go, listen, he's been working away in the lower leagues, or he's been getting his hours in. So you're bringing a lad in. You're suggesting to bring him back because he knows the players.
Isn't the discussion, though, Roy? We're talking about Michael Carrick. We're talking about Steve Holland. We're talking about Jonathan Woodgate. Johnny Evans is coming.
But I voiced my concern about the manager and his staff. We sit every week going, United have to get the best of the best. So all of a sudden they're bringing managers in, and I know it's a situation, and that's not on Carrick. You come in, and then I'll take a gamble with one or two lads who've never coached at this level.
Daniel, let me ask you. Daniel, let me ask you.
If they were available next week to any club in the world, if they were being headhunted, nobody would come after them.
You said that they can't. A world-class manager wouldn't come here. That's what you said, right?
That's right.
So
there's still lots of good managers out there.
There's lots of good managers, but if you want a world-class, what do you want? You want a good manager, or you want a world-class manager? You want to trust a young manager and give a man an opportunity and say, you know what? We're going to try and build something with you. We're bringing you in. Hold on, we're bringing you in.
Oh, good luck to
him for a few months. We're going to see how it works out.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
What if he starts here? He's got 17 games left the rest of the season, and everyone's talking about he's got the rest of the season. What if he actually started in the way that he did at Middlesbrough, albeit Middlesbrough playing in the Championship, but he won 13 of his first 17 matches at Middlesbrough? If he does that here, which is a tall order, they'll be playing Champions League football next season. Could he not then earn this Manchester United job full-time himself?
He can earn a job full-time. I do believe he can. I mean, you know, we talk about experience and, you know, all of these different things, but we can look back to the history of the game, you know, and young managers who knew the DNA of football clubs. When Guardiola went to Barcelona, he was Barcelona B manager. When Zidane got the Real Madrid coach, he was Real Madrid B manager.
Yeah.
Hold on, but they didn't have big jobs. They weren't like world-class guys. It was, we're bringing in young managers. We're going to give Arteta at Arsenal. We're bringing young managers in who know the DNA of the football club. Arteta knows the DNA of Arsenal. Zidane knows the DNA of Real Madrid. Guardiola knew the DNA of Barcelona. They were young, inexperienced managers who hadn't done a lot, but their careers were unbelievable. I'm not suggesting that Carrick's going to come in and be anywhere near as good as those guys, but when we talk about the DNA, we talk about a style of play with 4-2-3-1. He likes his inverted fullbacks. He likes his attacking players. If you get them playing attacking football, I believe he can earn the job.
Of course
I like the fact he's a young English manager, and we're giving him
I could give you a list of experts who went straight into a job and done brilliant. You've just mentioned a few. I'm agreeing with you. That can happen.
Right.
But I'm not sure at this club with the decisions being made above for these staff and the staff he's coming in with. And Wilcox, who's ever making the decisions, and people talk looking for a yes man. There's lots of managers out there who are yes man. You have to roll with it. I get that. But where's the evidence to suggest? You're showing the first 17 games. Show the last 17 games. We can do that with any. You could tarnish up my record and go, hey, you don't know.
You had the same impact.
It doesn't mean to say someone's a good or a bad manager. But all of a sudden, we do Sky every week, and we're talking about Man United, the greatest club in the world, one of the biggest. But all of a sudden, we're going to take a gamble on a manager who hasn't got a track record, and his staff haven't got a great track record.
I think you're arguing about different things, though. I think you're arguing about giving a new manager opportunity and what might happen if he does really well. And you're more arguing about the overall picture at Man United. He's saying if Amorim gets sacked, then why have they not got a world-class manager ready to go now?
Because we know there's not one available, me. That's exactly why.
But Micah, do you know, Daniel, but you know what? Can I tell you, a good point. There's no one available. Well, you make somebody available. I always make the point, when Man United rang Everton about Wayne Rooney, do you think David Moyes went, oh, he's available, you can have him, of course, lads, you can have him on the cheap. They went, he's not available. But what you do is a big club, because we sit here every week, Man United the greatest, Man United this and that. You make somebody available. You go and get a manager who might be in a job. You go, they've done that with the previous manager, Sporting Lisbon. They went and paid the compensation. But now all of a sudden, we got to sit tight till the summer. Man United have to get in Europe this year. They have to get in the Champions League. It's not as if they have nothing to play for. But you know what? We're going to risk an inexperienced manager or a manager who's failed at his previous job. I don't fall for this ex-player nonsense. And we get some staff around him that nobody knows too much about. That's a bit of a gamble, but if they do the business, I'll take my hat off to him. But I've got my concerns about it. Simple as that.